Fundamentals of HR is about getting the most from your people, managing them and developing them effectively. Hi, my name is Richard Crooks from the Destination Staffordshire team. This is the third in a series of 3 webinars on the fundamentals of human resources. The first webinar was about getting the basics right and complying with the law when it comes to employing people. The second one was about recruiting the right people. And the third and final webinar is about your biggest responsibility as an owner, manager of a business to get the best from your team of people. You do that by managing your people effectively. You might say that we just employ our staff to do a job and let them get on with it, and that's fine, but manage them well and everyone in your team will not only be more productive and efficient, but also happier in their jobs, and that can be great for your customers. One of the hardest challenges, especially for new managers or managers of small businesses, is to balance their management role, including focusing on helping other people while still finding ways to get their own work done. Whether you've read countless management books, have been managing others for a long time, or got thrust into a position ill-prepared, leading employees and empowering them to do a good job is an art that can be learned, just like programming skills or riding a bike. While there's no prescriptive and guaranteed method to becoming the best manager ever, there are many actionable things that you can do to ensure that your employees are constantly heading the right direction. And here's my top tactical ways to help your employees be more productive, a great foundation for our future management success. So, first thing is be yourself. It starts with you. There is no replacement for authenticity. People can sense fakeness. Having to put on a face with your employees every day can only lose their trust, but it also makes work less enjoyable for you. There's no need to overcompensate with certain management styles based off of how other people manage, especially if it's out of your comfort zone. Behaving in a manner that is consistent with your beliefs and values will give you more energy each day, and it will send a message to your employees to be themselves. 2, being honest. While many managers are afraid to do this, admitting when you are wrong is crucial to building an honest place to work. Sometimes as we sit in a management role, we think we have to demonstrate control and always be right. Yet it actually shows more courage to admit when you don't know the answer or that you've made a mistake. Doing so will establish a layer of trust with your employees. Get to know each individual. People's personal lives affects their working life. Jan's daughter broke an arm and Jimmy's father-in-law was in town for the weekend. Following up on little things every Monday morning or when someone's next in work demonstrates a genuine care for your employees. Asking about someone that you know has been going on. Asking about something that you know has been going on in someone's life, or checking in on someone when they seem a bit down can build a stronger connection between you and every team member. With this connection will come an opportunity to understand what motivates your employees, what they enjoy doing, and what they are working towards. When an employee knows that their boss cares about their success, they have more motivation to work and they feel an obligation to work hard for you. Plus, it will make it easier to give constructive feedback when they know that you have their best interests at heart. And giving feedback is something I'm going to keep coming back to, starting with giving your people positive feedback, appreciation. Giving recognition for work that is lacking can set a bad precedent. While the line can sometimes be hard to draw, being attentive to the efforts of your employees will always give them proper recognition. Giving them the recognition they deserve can keep the motivation levels high and show much needed recognition. You'll be surprised how much saying saying someone is doing a good job goes with some people, it can make the difference between a happy and productive employee versus someone who leaves because they feel underappreciated. 5, give people freedom and autonomy. If people feel like they have to be doing their work in a particular way and can't be themselves, they're going to be less happy and productive. Having honest conversations about the type of work they want to do, encouraging them to take a goal or idea and run with it, and letting them revolve their work around the lifestyle they want to create, encourages employees to work harder on what they enjoy most. 6, set expectations clearly. Autonomy is important, but without an overall sense of guidance, people might spend significant time trying to figure out what they are actually supposed to do. This is where clear job descriptions, an important point that I keep bringing up in these webinars, comes in. People need to understand what is required of them. If they don't do what is expected, then there is no excuse. Asking questions is my 7th top tip. Checking in and challenging people by asking questions like, what else can I or should I be working on? Is what I'm doing the best use of my time right now? And is there a way to do things more differently? You want the people to be asking those sorts of questions constantly, because that can help accelerate their learning and productivity. Encouraging your people to think for themselves is a great way to develop flexible and energetic employees. Next tip, hire the best people. It goes without saying, and our webinar 2 covered how to go about hiring the best people for the role. But not everyone is going to be a shining star from day one. Often it's not the case that everyone in your team is a shining star, and therefore part of the manager is to help to bring the best qualities out of them. Providing constructive feedback. That being said, about helping your employees, knowing when an employee is not performing is when you need to try and nip it in the bud. You need to have that difficult conversation about their performance. This is probably the hardest thing for any manager to do. So I'm going to come back to this at the end of the webinar on how to approach it. Next, tip 10. When it's not working out, letting go is the best course. A lot of people get this wrong because they simply put off making a difficult decision. We went through in webinar 1 about the importance of having a solid employment contract, because therein should lie the process or processes the person is not performing. If a person is in their probationary period, then the person can be let go straight away. The contract obviously needs to be worded accordingly. Usual practice beyond that period is to first provide constructive feedback in the hope that a bit of direction might help. Beyond that, a verbal warning, then perhaps a written warning should be given before dismissal. Instant dismissal should be the punishment for gross misconduct. Again, make sure that this is all clear in your contract of employment, which we covered in the first webinar. So, as I said earlier, the biggest challenge is in offering feedback, and particularly negative feedback. We all struggle with this, especially with people we work with and know well. So I'd like to introduce you to an approach that helps with this. It's called AID. There are 5 components to the model in providing feedback: intent, action, impact, desired outcomes, and conscious choices. You start to offer negative feedback by sharing your intent. Your intent is that you want to make that person better. By doing it this way, you set the scene and you follow the same approach in giving someone positive feedback as well. Action. Offer them your clear observations based on facts. We spoke about attitudes in webinar 2, and it's usually someone's attitude or behaviour that will be letting them down. We need to be precise on what it is they are doing or not doing. They won't know what they need to change unless you make this clear. Impact. You need to tell them what the impact that those behaviours are having on the business. Is it having an effect on customers, meaning that they're spending less and not coming back? They need to know the consequences of their actions. Desired outcomes. Ask what they might try hard to do differently. How might they change? Ask them. It puts the onus on them, and they've got to take ownership. Asking them what they might do is far less confrontational than telling them what they need to do, in your opinion. And then finally, having gone through this process, it's about conscious choices. This is where you hopefully get an agreement on what the person is going to do differently going forward, led by the suggestions made by the individual who needs to step up their performance. So there you have it. In this webinar, we focused on how to manage people effectively. In the previous 2 webinars, we looked at compliance and how a solid employment contract covers that, and how to recruit the right people. That's the fundamentals of human resources covered. I hope that the webinars have been helpful, and that as a result, we employ some really great staff who are an asset to you and your business. Thank you for listening.